I'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it. Okay, walk you, see you. A couple minutes. Let me take a nap.
Make no promises. Did you start this one?
Yes. I can do that.
And then just go back to
See the-
presenting.
Oh,
So you can move that. And you can click dot, dot, dot. Right, meeting controls. See people join.
Yeah. You know what, okay. Okay, you ready to get started? Okay. I hit that door too. Okay, got it. Okay, I'm gonna do a round. You go around the table and understand exactly how much turkey everyone had, because I need to know how much time I have before you fall asleep.
About 20 minutes.
Okay, 20 minutes. Okay, sounds good. Well, thanks for joining me today. My name is Jessica Mattern, and this is the first time I'm teaching this class, so please feel free to ask me questions. This is supposed to be interactive. It's supposed to be beneficial for you guys. What we're going to be talking about today is how to be the perfect showing partner. And showing partner can mean a bunch of different things. Jill, I know you utilize showing partners a lot when you were in Florida. You mentioned.
Yep.
So I'm sure you can give us some of your experience too. But a showing partner can mean you are full-time on someone's team as a dedicated full-time showing partner. It can also mean you are showing for a bunch of different agents at one time in a market center like ours. So and if you are thinking about this model, utilizing one of these models either as you're growing your team, like you want to bring on a showing partner for yourself, or to be a showing partner for someone else, I think you're going to get a lot out of today's class. So you may have any questions before we get started? Okay, so this is, hello? Hello, I just had you working.
Is it turned on?
Yes?
Okay, you might go jiggle the mouse for a second and do that, and then sometimes it'll wake it back up.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna turn it off. Back on. I just tested it.
There it goes.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is what we're going to be covering today. We're going to talk about us a little bit. What is a showing partner? The importance of a showing partner, roles and responsibilities of a showing partner, the benefits of a showing partner, the benefits for the home buyer, and then we're going to wrap up and answer any questions that you guys have. Sound good? Okay, so about us, my name again is Jessica Mattern. I'm with the Mattern team here at Keller Williams. Brad, my husband's in the back. He and I have been I've been in business since 2016, and I started out on a team. And about a year later, I started our team, and then Brad joined me a year after that in 2018. Since then, we've been building our team. We've closed 119 million in closed sales volume and helped 344 families since then. And I'll talk more about what kind of team we built at the end of our presentation today. So what is a showing partner? A showing partner can be a dedicated member of a team, like I mentioned, or you can service a bunch of different agents in an office. And it's really someone who specializes in showing homes and being an extra set of hands and arms, legs, you name it, for a buyer's agent in the market center. So has anyone in here utilized a showing partner before? Has anybody paid somebody to go show a house for them? Okay. Has anybody been the person that has been paid to go show a house? Okay, me too.
I do it for free.
You do it for free?
Don't say that. You're really embarrassed.
But for only very selected.
Yeah, there you go. So I want to be very crystal clear about showing partners. This role is not a less than role. This is a role that enhances the buyer's experience. It is the right-hand arm of the buyer's agent. It is not a less than role. So the importance of a showing partner, agents can focus on other important tasks while ensuring properties are showcased effectively to buyers. A showing partner creates a seamless and personalized experience for the buyer. That's the magic one. A showing partner's knowledge of local markets and current trends help agents make data-driven decisions, increasing successful sales. That's one of the main reasons. So what exactly are you going to be doing? So this is the home buying process in a nutshell. We use this chart in our presentation for buyers every single time we have a buyer presentation. And what I've done is highlighted in yellow what part of the transaction you as a showing partner would be involved in. So obviously in the begin looking phase, submitting an offer phase, the option period phase, and then the final walkthrough. These are the parts of the transaction you're going to be involved in. The buyer agent themselves handles predominantly the buyer consultation, offer preparation, and all the negotiations. Does that sound right? Okay. So let's break this down a little bit. You're going to attend the initial buyer consultation. This is going to be great because if you haven't done a lot of buyer consultations before, you get to hear how a top agent's going to be doing it. What are they saying? What you get to see the wheels turning for the buyer. You also get to hear what the buyer's looking for in their house. So you're going to be taking notes right there along with the buyer's agent. What is this buyer looking for that they're saying that they're looking for? Their deal breakers, where they want to be, what they don't want to be next to, all that. Then you're going to set up a group text. You're going to start that group text with the buyer's agent and the buyers. And that's, like I said, buyer's agent and buyers and you on that group text. Then you're going to set up showings. I'm going to show you some template emails here in just a little bit of both of those, group text and the template email. Then you're going to provide feedback to not only the listing agents, but also to the buyer's agent. Remember, buyer's agent's not there with you on the showings. They have no idea what happened. So it's high touch communication here, a high level of communication needed for this process. Then you're going to need to provide some offer details to the buyer's agent to prepare the offer. Then I'm going through this quickly. We're going to do a deeper dive. Then I would recommend going to the inspection review. Again, you learn a lot of information. A lot of times buyer's agent will not attend the inspection review. You can meet the inspector there, go over some of those details with the inspector, and also be available to open the door for other vendors for, vendors for estimates. And then you're going to attend the final walkthrough and have some examples of what you're going to want to get at the final walkthrough. And then a group thank you. You want to say thank you for their business. So, any questions so far? All right, so let's do a deeper dive into roles and responsibilities. Property evaluation. When you are out with a buyer, how many times have you been out with somebody and they said that they wanted one thing in the consultation, then you get there to the property and they're like, I don't like this. Okay, yes. Okay, this happens a lot. So I would recommend when you're the only one as a showing partner with that buyer, you heard what they said in the consultation, I would recommend saying something like, I'm really sorry, I must have misunderstood, because what I heard you say in the consultation is not what you just said right now. Can you help me with what's changed? Because our team only shows 8 homes on average before submitting an offer. And here we are at number 6. And I thought I had shown you the best 6 out there. And based on what you told me that you wanted. And here we are, number 6. I have 2 more to show you before we're ready to submit an offer. And it doesn't sound like you're ready to submit an offer. What's changed since when we met first? I think that's a fair statement to say. And that's part of your job as a showing partner, is to get them closer to making an offer. Not just to show properties left and right. We want to narrow it down and to factor in your time also so that you can help more buyers. Yes,
I think it's also fair to say the opposite, which is, you know, this property checks off all the boxes that you said, you know, what's missing? Okay. Checks this, checks this, check this, check this. Which one is missing? So it's almost a different way of saying what you just said.
yep, kind of the opposite, the negative or positive side of that. Okay, coordination and scheduling. So I'm gonna show you a couple things here on my next few slides, but I brought some examples of what we like to do. We always print directions in the MLS. Have you guys done this before?
All the time.
Okay, so I do this. I personally like to schedule my showings every 15 minutes the first time I'm meeting somebody. So if we're gonna meet at 2 o'clock, I schedule the first one at 2, the second one at 2:15, the third one at 2:30. And I do them for 1-hour blocks. That's just how I do it until I get to know how long or short they take in a property. And then I also print out the full MLS, full agent MLS. And that way, if I need to get in touch with a listing agent quickly, I can have it. I know that a lot of that information's on Broker Bay, but sometimes that's not as reliable as a piece of paper. So I like to have it printed out. The second thing that I have is, have you guys, yes,
But it's for yourself on basketball.
yeah, this is what I give to the buyer. Have you guys ever used the Cloud CMA buyer tours? Okay, if you haven't, I highly recommend you set up an account with Cloud CMA. And this is an example of a buyer tour. This is how we do it. We bind them. The binding machine's on the other side of the building. Please don't ever get rid of the binding machine. I use it all the time. Okay. Okay, so there's an about me, about our team a little bit. Okay, here's a map. In the order, you can drag and drop the order that you're going in. And then it has information on the property. Normally it would print all the photos. I guess I have it set up differently. This is the best part. It has a little 5 stars. You can rate 1 to 5 stars, and also you can write a pros and cons list. So if you're seeing more than 2 houses, they run together. So I recommend even if you're seeing 1 house, I would always do this and get them to take pros and cons. Whoever is not driving, on your way to the next house, I need 3 pros and 3 cons of every house. And by the time I get to the next house, I'm gonna ask you what your rating was for the property. On a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate it? And it helps me understand if they like the property or not. That's in here for every property. And then, here's the rest of the photos. And then also I include area restaurants, especially if they're new to the area. I do not include the school information. I find that the school ratings is through greatschools.org and not everybody likes greatschools.org. So I don't include that. So this is up here if you guys want to look at it later.
Do you do one of those for every buyer, for every showing outing that you do? So if you do one on Saturday, and then they want to schedule next Saturday, you do another book for them for next Saturday?
Correct. I do.
Do you include like the property taxes, HOA? That's my last open house, that's what I asked me, what's the tax rate?
I think an open house is.
PID or PUD, you know.
Yeah, open house is a little different. You definitely want to be prepared for the information about that specific house that you're hosting. When you're showing multiple properties, by multiple I mean more than 1, I would wait until they have narrowed down their top 2 to 3 and then go do a deeper dive on what, or seller's disclosure, T47 survey. And I'm going to go into some of that in a little bit about what I recommend you have prepared. Good question.
Could deter them if it has a PID that's, $3,000 a year or something, and I think I want that.
Yes.
Jessica, one
Yes.
other thing that I don't know if you guys know, I'm sure you do, but like if somebody calls me today and they want to go see tomorrow, I may not have time to do that. I print them, but I also do the directions on Netras, and I email the directions to them.
Yes.
So they get a text and they click on it, it's got the map and directions and how long will it take from this house to this house.
Yes.
So they know exactly in which order we're gonna go see them.
Yes, that is great on this part. You can share this directions. Cloud CMA also has where you can share this electronically with them.
Oh, okay.
So you can send them a link, and so if you update something on it, the link updates as well. So that's nice too. Okay, guidance and support is our last one on this slide. You know what, you're the expert. So be prepared, like you said, Tish, to answer some of those burning questions that you feel like they're gonna ask you anyway. Do your research on the properties ahead of time. It's also okay to say, that's a great question, let me get back to you on that. They don't expect you to know everything. And it's okay, but I'm showing you 14 properties today, hopefully not, but 4 properties today. I simply cannot know everything about every property. That's a great question, let me get back to you on that. I think that's a fair statement to make. Okay, here's the Cloud CMA buyer tour, we just talked about that. That's a little close-up view. Okay, when you're evaluating a property with a buyer, this is some things that we talk to our clients about. We always talk about the big 5: roof, foundation, electrical, plumbing. We want to make sure that those 5 are in good condition, and we try to get the buyer to focus on those instead of the cosmetic things with a house. In neighborhoods, we want to point out key features of the neighborhood. Tish, this goes back to your point, HOA. What's included in the HOA? Is there a pool? Is there a walking trail? Or what's the proximity to major highways and schools? Is there a development nearby? Maybe the property backs to an empty field and they're like, hey, what's getting built back there? Well, sometimes I have my iPad and I can look it up while we're there, but other times I may need to go back. That's a great question. Let me get back to you on that and do some research on who owns that piece of land behind the property, and could it be a Walmart one day? I'd have to go research that for you. And I encourage them to do their own research too. Don't just rely on what I can find. I learned this very early on. My face is like an open book, and like whatever is happening in my mind is also happening on my face at the same time. And so as soon as I open a door, sometimes even before I open a door, I can smell what the house smells like, and you're like, ah. So keep your opinion to yourself, even on your face. Let them make their own determination of the property before you interject yours. That is so key, because you may never live in that property and they think it's a castle. Or the vice versa. You think it's amazing and they're like, I would never live here. So this is huge. I cannot emphasize that enough. Keep your opinion to yourself. Let them be the one to tell you what they think first. Okay. Also, this is a good one for resale. If they're thinking it's a negative for them, it will likely be a negative for another buyer in the future. So if they're teetering between whether or not to make an offer or whether or not this is the right house for them, get them to give you their pros and cons list, and whatever was on the cons list, if it's something that cannot be changed, it's likely going to be a con for somebody in the future. So if they are worried about resale, how long they're going to be there, that could be something to remind them of in the future. Okay, general comps. If you especially have an out-of-town buyer, I would recommend pulling some general comps in the area. What's happening in the neighborhood? What's the last 90 days comps look like? Be prepared to ask questions. Be prepared for questions from a buyer about average sold price in a neighborhood. Chart masters, obviously, duh. Chart masters is great to have in your vehicle at all times or on your iPad or computer. So keeping that handy. If you don't know what chart masters is, see Jill. Just kidding.
See me.
Okay. Again, focusing on the big 5, going back to one slide, I always walk the exterior of the house. I look for cracks. I don't know if you guys have ever talked to a foundation expert. Diagonal cracks versus straight line cracks, they mean 2 different things. Make sure you understand what that is. I think that was it. Oh, I had a buyer one time where they loved the house, and then we opened the garage door and this driveway was so steep, and they drove a sedan and they couldn't even get their car in the driveway. And it was like multiple offers. We got to make a decision right now. And thank goodness we make sure you open the garage. Go walk around the entire perimeter of the house. You'd be shocked how many deals might fall apart because you didn't do your research on the front end. So are you guys doing that? Are you walking the perimeter? Like, does the fence lean? The cracks in their previous foundation repairs and the concrete? You're looking at the brick? Everything besides getting on the roof. Do your buyers get in the attic?
No.
Some of my buyers get in. I'm like, knock yourself out, but just don't make me take you to the hospital today. So
Is it not a liability of like They get up in the attic. Like in my open houses, they try to do that. I'm like, no, the listing agent just don't let him get in the attic.
To sign that in a buyer representation agreement document. So we have all of our buyers sign a buyer rep before we take them out. So that would be covered in there if something did happen to them. But also, it's covered in the listing agreement. So
That might be a liability on us if something.
it's a buyer representation agreement between the buyer and the brokerage.
I've had buyers that wanna see their truck fits in the garage.
Yes.
You know, the garage, they move,
Oh, that's
get my
okay.
truck around to see if it fits. No, it's not gonna fit. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever bought a personal house that my husband has not gotten in the attic.
Yep. I always take a laser measurer too, and measure the garage for some people. I measure the height of the garage for some people. Sometimes it will fit this way, but not this way.
Yeah, this time of year, it's good to have a flashlight or a headlamp.
Yep, it's getting dark earlier. Okay, renovations, oh yeah, become familiar with how much things cost to renovate. Have you priced out how much it costs for new countertops these days? Is granite more expensive than quartz? It is not, quartz is more expensive than granite. How much does it cost to put new carpet in versus vinyl plank flooring? Are you familiar with all the types of flooring? These are gonna be things you wanna familiarize yourself with because you are the expert. Also, buyers, what they do is they take something that might be $5,000 to fix and they 10X it. So you want to make sure that even if you don't have the exact number, you can help them understand what things really cost. You want to familiarize yourself with appliance package levels. If you're showing luxury properties, do you know what those types of finish out should look like compared to a house that might be closer to 600,000? Again, flooring types is going to be different in different levels of home. There's a company called ProSource in Allen that they have really good showroom. Also, any kind of builder they're not going to let you in there, like a flooring services type that would get you all the different product levels. ProSource is like a builder type. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Brian might be able to help me, but ProSource is has countertops and backsplash and flooring and sinks and.
Like a one-stop shop for projects or renovations where you get a business that have a consultation, pricing. So if you have a general question of what's the difference between carpet, luxury vinyl plank, and hardwood floors?
And there's one in Allen. There's multiple locations. You know that.
That's just one that we use. I mean, there's a whole lot of other companies similar.
So the more you know, the more of an expert you're going to be and the more valuable an asset you're going to be to your buyer's agent, whether that's on a team or you're servicing multiple agents in a market center. So let's talk about presentation. Obviously, you want to dress professionally. I know a lot of people have the concept of dress to your clientele. I've always dressed probably more professionally than all of my clientele. I just feel like that's important for me. I just try to say, I don't think I've maybe worn jeans one time seeing a client. That's how I operate. So make sure that you're on the same page with whoever you're showing for, that you're dressed professionally to what they're expecting. You want to arrive early for your showings. Keep safety in mind. Whenever I do arrive early and I'm like the only person parked in front of a house that's clearly for sale and that might clearly be vacant, I typically don't go in by myself. If I do, I lock the door behind myself. If I do arrive early and I feel like it's a safe environment or something, I will go in ahead of time and turn all the lights and all the lamps on. Lighting is so key whenever you're showing a property. So making sure that the buyer has a good experience. When you're showing properties, I would typically recommend showing the buyer's top 2 or 3 picks first. So you want them to have a great experience. If you can get there early and really enhance that experience for them, I would recommend doing that. If you can't get there before them, or if they're following you, I would always try to work ahead of them, work the downstairs, get all the lights on, go upstairs, and then come back down to wherever they are. Point out key features of the property. So you obviously want to follow all the showing instructions. You are a representative of that buyer's agent and their team. And so you want to make sure that you are in line with what their showing instructions are. You want to be available and you definitely want to respond quickly. So make sure that you are doing all of those things. Okay, here's an example. I want to read this to you. This is an example conversation that I put together. So imagine that we're in a buyer consultation together. Brad is the buyer's agent and I am the showing partner. Okay, so let's just read this together. So Adam and Mary are my buyers. Adam and Mary, the number one thing, this is Brad talking. The number one thing that is most important to me is that I can negotiate the best price for the home for you and you get your dream home. The worst thing would be is that you want to see a house and I'm not available to show it to you. So what I've done is I've hired Jessica. Jessica has been hired to work with you around your schedule. So what you're going to do is that custom portal that we just set up, you're going to save your favorite properties. I'm going to ask you to save 10 properties. This is the way it works. Most of my clients look at 6 houses. Sometimes they look at 8. So why don't you just go ahead and save your top 10 to be safe? Next, you'll let Jessica and me know which properties you'd like to see and when you're available to see them. Jessica will check with the seller's schedule and develop a tour for you on your schedule and communicate with you where and when to meet. So this, if you can, if you're a agent that wants to bring a showing partner on, you're gonna have this memorized. As a showing partner that is showing for another buyer's agent, you could bring this script to them and say, set me up like this. This is gonna work really well. So this is setting you up as a success. So here, this is a conversation that you're gonna have with the client. There's a couple things that happen in this messaging. It set the expectations, we're not really gonna see more than 8 homes. Probably gonna see 6. Sometimes we see 8. So that's gonna save you time. Also, it sets the expectation that the buyer's agent has invested so much in their client that they've actually hired a showing partner specifically to work with them. How special does that make somebody feel? That is the whole purpose of this. Also to save you time, the buyer time, and then the buyer's agent time. Couple of key things on this. You don't ever want to tell a buyer no, or don't want to ever give them the opportunity to say no. So if, let's say Adam and Mary want to see a property on Saturday at 2 o'clock and you have another appointment on Saturday at 2 o'clock, instead of them telling you when they want to see it, you might say, hey, you know, the seller is actually available at 3:30 or 4:30. Which one works better for you? Instead of saying, I'm sorry, the seller can't do that at 2 o'clock. That's a no. Can you do it another time? Which one feels better? So one way to do that would be like, okay, great, let me check with the seller. They're actually available at 3:30. Does that work for you, or is 4:30 better? How much turkey do you have? How much turkey did you have?
A lot.
Okay. We're almost done, I promise. Okay, so also you want to, after this is set up, you want to continue to check with the client with your availability if you don't hear from them right away or if time lapses. You want to keep the ball moving down the field. Okay, so here's another example. This is an example of the group text. So you as the showing partner might say, hi Adam and Mary, this is Jessica with the Mattern team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm excited to help you on your home buying journey. I have your agent Brad copied on this group text as well. Please utilize this group text as a way to alert me when you're ready to see a property. I will then email you with the details and schedule. I'm looking forward to assisting you. Okay, so you put everybody on a group text together. This is where you're just gonna keep everybody on the group text the entire time. Even if you're not involved in that part of the transaction, you're just on the group text. You're involved in what's happening. Okay, don't forget to check in with them too if you don't hear from them in a while. Okay, now you've shown a property, or you're interested in showing a property, your buyer's interested in showing, and the buyer's agent needs to reach out to the listing agent to connect you guys. So the buyer's agent might say, hi Sylvia, Sylvia's the listing agent. This is Brad with the Mattern team at Keller Williams. I have included my showing partner Jessica on this text message. I have a client who might be interested in your listing at 1234 Main Street. Would you happen to have the deed restrictions? I know she will want to add 2 modular homes to the property for family members. Thank you. This is what the buyer's agent would say to the listing agent to set you up on that. That way you can take the ball and run down the field, get your client the information on that, back on that group text with the buyer. Okay, questions? Okay, here's another example of the email template. So buyer has said, hey, I'm ready to see these 8, 10 properties, whatever, house Saturday. Dear Adam and Mary, thank you for sending over the 10 properties you'd like to see on Saturday. I checked with the sellers and 6 are available for us to see this Saturday. Now, all 10 might have been available, but you picked the best 6. And that's how much time you have to show them, okay? We will begin at 1234 Main Street at 9 a.m. Saturday, and we have an allotted amount of time at each property by the sellers per our appointment schedule, which I've outlined for you below. We will be together until approximately 11 a.m. I will meet you at the first house Saturday morning, and I'll be bringing your buyer guide with me for you to take notes on. I look forward to seeing you both and showing you some great homes then. Then you would outline your showing schedule. It shows the buyer that we are on a schedule. We will be together from this time to this time, and these are the properties we're gonna see in the order that we're gonna see them. I included seller approved because now they know I've requested the appointment with the seller and they've approved it. It's not just some BS that I'm making up that we're supposed to be there at some time. You would also want to copy your buyer's agent on this email. You could do this on a group text, it's just kind of long. Okay, here's feedback that you'd want to provide to the listing agent. After you've shown a property, it's really important to be honest with the listing agent. It's going to help them sell that property and the seller sell the property. You also want to be nice. Just assume that whatever you put in that feedback is going directly to the seller without any filter through the listing agent. And then timing is everything. Make sure to provide timely feedback, especially if your buyer is interested in that property. A few minutes can mean the difference between them getting in an offer or not.
Jessica,
Yes.
please get into the habit of providing feedback. Please, that is so important, so critical. There are so many agents out there that do not provide feedback. I am just freaking amazed. And I don't know what happened, because it used to be like that. That you call them, you text them, you send them a second, and they don't respond. So it's very important that we provide feedback. Get into the habit of providing feedback.
But also more importantly, like I've had this with buyer showings, especially showing multiple, they might be interested in the first one. And then you wait till the end of the day, by the end, they've already accepted an offer. And having to tell your buyer that they've accepted an offer while you've been looking at other houses really sucks. So please reach out to the agent immediately, espally if they like it, say, are you
If they're
working any
interested.
offers? Are you doing this, are you doing that? So you need time, and plus it will delay them from making a decision if they have an offer.
And keep in mind, as a showing partner, you are the leverage. So while you're out showing these properties, maybe your relationship with your buyer's agent is, hey, they're interested in 123 Main Street. I just showed it to them. You should probably reach out to the agent, or would you like me to do that? I've got 3 more to show them, but it seems pretty urgent. See what they would like to do. They may be at their computer ready to go. You just never know. So make sure you understand what that expectation is so that you can best serve your client. Okay, feedback to the buyer's agent. So your client has seen a property that they like, and now you have to provide feedback to your buyer's agent to help the buyers either repair the offer or move forward in a different direction. So feedback is all about getting closer to the end goal of submitting an offer. So what information would be helpful to the buyer's agent in progressing the buyer towards that step of submitting an offer? Do they need a seller's disclosure notice? Do they need that survey? Do they need deed restriction information? Be prompt, we just talked about that. And make suggestions. You're spending the most amount of time with them. If they just don't like all these 1980s homes in Plano, maybe they should consider new construction in Princeton. Just think outside the box and make that suggestion to the buyer's agent, maybe not directly to the buyer at first, the buyer's agent, and say, hey, I really think they might consider new construction. They might really like it. Have you thought about sending them in this direction? I'm happy to show it to them. So get them to think outside. You're the one spending the most time with them. Or potentially even another neighborhood that you think they might be interested in taking a look at. Okay, when you are ready to, or the buyer's ready to present an offer, remember the buyer's agent has probably not seen the house. So what is so key to that part of the transaction when they're about to submit an offer that you feel like they should know about? Is there something interesting about the property you noticed when you were there? Is there an unusual floor plan? Like how many days, not just the typical how many days has it been on the market, but why has it been on the market so long, in your opinion? Does it have a smell that you can't smell on the MLS? You know, is there maybe a really busy road behind that you can't see from any of the photos? In any of this information that you want to provide to the buyer's agent, or any information the listing agent gave you, would also be imperative. Okay, what are some of the benefits for showing partners? think you can probably read between the lines, yes.
Okay, I think too, because as you get busier as a buyer's agent, you can have multiple people showing for you and working multiple buyers all at the same time.
Yes,
Because you can't be everywhere all at once.
yes, that's definitely one of the benefits for the buyer's agent themselves, but as a showing partner too, I think there's extra benefits, which are extra income potential. Membership by top agents. Also, you get to learn the transaction from start to finish from somebody who's done it a time or two. Because you're on that group text the entire time. You get to see how they negotiate the repairs, what they're talking to the buyer about. You get to see when everything's scheduled, you get to see all of it behind the scenes. Learn the systems and knowledge. You get the behind the scenes look from a top team. You get to build confidence. I think when I get asked this question, like, how did you win Rookie of the Year the first year? How did you sell blah, blah, blah homes in the first year, blah, blah, blah. I think the key is confidence. You have to just, even if you don't have confidence, you gotta act like you have confidence. And doing something like this as a showing partner is a great way to build it. And then you learn effective communication techniques. So confidence is one of the most key factors along with effective communication. So what are the benefits for the home buyer? They get not only a personalized experience, they get an expert at showing, they get an expert in the neighborhoods, and they get time saving on both their side and your side. Okay, so a showing partner brings efficiency, expertise, and enjoyment to the property viewing process, embrace the power of collaboration, and unlock new opportunities in the world of real estate. And then this is our team. You guys, I think all know, most of you all know our team. Yeah, got everybody's phone number there and email, so if you need to reach out to any of us. And I thank you for joining us. What was that? Oh, it's an hour.
What do you use for, who are your showing partners? Do you have an agent or two agents that you particularly use to do showings for you guys?
We are currently looking for a full-time showing partner for our team.
Okay.
So, and we didn't really talk about compensation models, but there's all kinds of different compensation models. I've seen some agents or teams offer 10% of closings. You know, if a showing partner shows one house or 10 houses, it's still 10% of that closing.
Right.
I've also seen upwards of 15 to 20% with a cap at like 2,000 or 2,500.
Right.
I've seen all kinds of different models.
Good, no.
And also, I do a lot of showings for agents and when they go on vacation. So there's times they're on vacation and they're writing 3 offers, so they never even met the client. And it's usually an out-of-state or out-of-town client that when they leave on vacation and they want to see a house, so that's a benefit for you
Yes,
guys too.
absolutely.
When you're going that and then back to school, a lot of times that's July, like June through August is like busy because they go on vacation. So showing partners.
Yep. Good question.
And Christmas too, the holidays, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm always gone, so I'm like, sorry, I've got to.
You know, and one thing you touched base on that I think is so important, and I don't believe agents do it enough, is doing a buyer's consultation ahead of time. Like really sitting down and doing a thorough, that was something we really were big on in Florida that we don't do as much here, is having them come into the office. I mean, we have this long questionnaire that we would sit and go through, and where you dive really, really deep, and we would always say, I'd rather ask you 50 questions here and show you 3 homes than show you, 50 homes by only asking you 3 questions. And because an agent, a buyer can say to me, I'm looking for a big backyard. Well, what does that look like to you? What's your idea of a big backyard? Because your idea of a big backyard could be very different than mine. Mine may be an acre, yours is a quarter of an acre. So it's really going deep so that you know exactly what you're looking for before you ever put them in your car. And from a safety standpoint too.
Always do the best.
Yeah, because my mom would always say to me, she's like, Jill, you would pick the one profession where a complete stranger can call you up and say, hey, Jill, will you meet me at this empty house? I know we've never met before. And she's like, and you're ready to jump in your car and run.
As new agents, you know,
Yeah.
I did
I
that.
did too, right when I
When I
started.
did full time, I did that.
Yeah.
And then I realized, you gotta get the appointment first.
Well, and if you
Appointment
want,
first.
Yeah.
Nothing on the phone, nothing at the house, appointment first.
well, and if you want to be treated as a professional, I think we have to show that we are professionals. You go to your attorney's office, you go to your CPA's office, you sit down and meet with them. Why is it any different for us?
We're running
So-
a doctor's office, not an emergency room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I always liked when I had showing assistants, is I would have them, I had it set up to where every time they left a house, before they went to the next one, they were already either sending me a text or calling me and saying, closets were too small, this one didn't work because of this. And then if I needed to fine tune the search on my end from my computer, I could do that while they were still out looking. Or I could say, you know what, then that next one's not gonna work either because I looked at it and it's along the same lines or whatever, and we could make adjustments as needed throughout the day.
Yes, absolutely. Do you have a question?
Yeah, so these showing partners, are they doing this as their full-time gig, or are they doing this but also trying to have their own real estate business also?
I think there's multiple ways that you can do it. We're currently looking for somebody full-time and looking to bring them on our team full-time to handle our buyer business. I think there are other, Tish, you're helping people as you need, and then you're working your own buyer business and listing business too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's both sides of it, it just depends on.
Time, so, yeah, like Fridays are really big, you know, hey, I've gotta go meet my kids' choir practice or something. So I'll say, sure, you know, sometimes they're Irving, so they know, you know, and I've gotten paid different ways, percentage wise, hourly wise.
Per door, we used to pay per door.
Per door, so that, it just depends, and let's say it's out of, you know, state client or something like that, then I have gotten 10%.
So now for Jessica, she's looking for a full-time person for her team, so I could see some teams wanting that, you know, especially if they have a lot of business. But now I don't know you, so, you know, so for you to start doing this, being a showing partner for other agents in the office, did you just reach out to people individually that you knew were super busy? Or, you know, I guess I'm kind of wondering how you approached or to do what you're doing in addition to your real estate business.
Well, they know me, some who don't, I have been like, there's one agent that's given my name to other agents. I really have not met those two agents, but it usually started with either I did an open house for them, they like feedback I do for them. It's usually a recommendation.
Okay, so you did something and somebody just said, yeah.
Yeah,
A
it just
referral thing.
yeah.
Oh, hey, so-and-so does it.
Also, at this point, you could say I took Jessica's showing partner class and I've been trained on how to do it and what to do. And you could develop your own systems based on what we talked about. Like you could put an entire packet together if you wanted to do this for other agents in our office and say, this is how I operate. Here's some suggestions of how you could set me up in your business. And here's some suggested compensation models, or see what they like for compensation.
Okay.
I think, and a lot of times new agents will do it as a form of starting to make some money as they're learning how to do everything. So they'll get out there and be a showing assistant, generate a little bit of income. And also at the same time, it's giving you a chance to learn how to drive around neighborhoods, learn how to open supers, learn how to talk to people, you know, and kind of be a part of the whole process. And it's a good way to learn.
Yeah, it is good for a new person, because you're facilitating everything and just the terminology, knowing how to work with buyers. You know, like one of them sent me to do 6 and it was over by Prosper and that was fine. But they were looking for the home to be faced in a certain way. So I said, well, 6 of those homes didn't work, but one did. And they did put the offer on that one home that they liked. So, you know, it's just.
And I think it's also, oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, that being said, there are buyers agents out there, one in particular, Jen Davis, who has closed 330 buyer sides in a year, and her showing partners are making more than individual agents.
Yeah.
That's what Sharia was
So-
too, because Sharia, her deal was she wanted to go as often, she did not want to show properties. And so whenever somebody when she'd be working with a client, she would say, so-and-so is gonna be showing you the homes. And when they would come back and be, well, why aren't you showing it to me? You know, her script was always, you don't need me to show you where the kitchen is. You don't, those types of things, they're gonna do, you're hiring me to negotiate for you. And that's what I, am a specialist in doing. This person's gonna show you where the kitchen, the bathroom, and they're gonna do the little tour with you, but then you hired me to negotiate and get the deal to closing and close.
I know, yeah, they normally give me, like, they would tell me, if they ask about price or negotiations, don't go step in that direction.
Yeah, that's
So
what
let
you do.
us do that, like, you're the buyers and I'm showing for her, so I don't, because I'll tend to say, oh, yeah. So it's good that they do tell me the negotiation side, Tish, if they ask the price, oh, do you think I could offer 30,000 less? Don't engage in that conversation, but everything else, I inform them about everything else. And so usually, they'll reach out again because it's a positive experience. And they normally will start the group text and then they'll introduce me and it's, hi, nice to meet you. Looking forward to meet you tomorrow, Saturday at blah, blah. And then I'll give them the agenda and stuff. But usually the buyer agent introduces us and we'll say something real complimentary. This is Tish Diaz. She's been my showing agent for my team, if that's how she wants to do it. She says, just go along. This is how I do the group text. So it makes the buyer feel like, oh, she's put me with a very, her top special person. So they never say, well, why aren't you showing me? And then I don't know, but then they later on, they'll say, how did Tish do on that? So we know that they will check. How did she was great. She gave us so much, information. So it's a full circle. But when I do it, I just say, I'm working for you. So I'm gonna look at the seller's disclosure, everything. I'm not just gonna open a door. So you're not gonna hire me to open a door. So if that's what you want, then you're not, I'm not gonna open the door for you. So it's, giving them everything, all the information that I know as an agent. That's what we are agents, right? So I'm gonna treat them as if they're my buyer, but they're not. Give them just as much information, so.
And do you do, I know if I had a showing assistant that would go show a lot of homes and they were narrowing it down to one and they were ready to make an offer, but they weren't totally sure on that. I mean, I would then go meet at that house. I don't know if that's how you do. I would, if they needed me before they made an offer, then as the showing assistant would go maybe show 10 or whatever it was, then I would go meet at that one if we were gonna discuss the offer too.
Yeah, I think if the timing allowed for it, then
Yeah.
yes, but if it was a multiple offer or timing
right.
situation, then can't always do that,
Yeah.
but yeah, that would be a nice way to do that. Plus you can get eyes on the property too and
Yeah.
to see.
I always like to get on.
Mm-hmm.
We can post it on the portal, just let them know that we are available for showing homes, if any agent needed.
Yeah. I think you would really stand out in our market center if you put a plan together and say, this is how I like to operate. And,
Very similar to how you do
yeah,
Sorry?
it. Very similar to how
Yeah,
you
exactly.
having a plan for it.
yeah, I think that would be really
Yeah.
eye-catching, at least to a team like us, like, oh, wow, she's got a system for doing this.
Put some thought to it, yeah.
Because there is an art to showing houses, like what Tish was saying earlier about what's the HOA, is there a MUD, is there a PID, is there this, or there's that. I mean, I have time before showings, I go through on the MLS sheets and I highlight that. So that I know when they ask it, it's like, oh, it's right there, your HOA is $400 a month, here's what it comes with, it's in a master plan community, we're in Blight Farms in Salina, oh, here's the amenities.
You're ready with the information.
Yeah, what's the schools look like?
Yeah, here's what you can expect from working with me. Like, you guys probably didn't know that we do this every single time.
We do it every single time.
We do it every single time.
It's a lot, but it's good because especially like when we have buyers sent from out of town, sometimes it's a 10 to 15 minute drive between houses. That's their time for them to talk about the last showing before they get to the next showing and write all their notes and talk about it.
Yeah, we're up here.
Because after 6 showings, I don't care what time of day it is, you just start getting angry.
Yeah, we're up here Saturday mornings printing these off and finding them.
Do you show, is there a limit? Because I think after a while, anybody's brain's like, okay, that house looked like this. I think Joe one time said, just do 5 or something. Which is-
Yeah, I never did, I mean, I think when somebody comes at me and would say, okay, I've got 14 I wanna see on Saturday, you know what, no, because you will never remember all 14, I'm doing you a disservice by showing you 14. So why don't we break it into Saturday and Sunday and I'll show 5 or whatever it is, but yeah, I just think doing that much, they get tired, they can't remember, you're gonna have to go back and recircle and look at them again, because I do think they all start running together, even if you are doing pros and cons and making notes, they're all gonna run together, so, yeah, I keep it pretty short.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Good
Thanks for
job,
your time.
Jessica.
Thank you. Let's see if I have any questions on these two.
I have one more meeting and then I can go.
So I
How
haven't
much?
officially introduced myself.
Hi.
So I'm Deborah Anderson.
Deborah.
And I am a new agent here. Nice to
Welcome.
meet you. Jessica?
Yes.